Sitecore Connect. You have connections, and then triggers, recipes are the main the core the basic block of a Sitecore Connect, and then finally actions, or tasks as they call. And then we go on to the crux of the discussion, the need for connect. And then of course there are a couple of things like we have the maximum connectivity, minimum overhead, and flexible, and then finally the less comfortable. Don't think of these as an a marketing gimmicks or those kind of stuff. I have a couple of slides, like 3 or 4 slides around that area, that would with that I said to set the understanding on what connect is to everyone, so that they can they'll be able to know what are the capabilities of Sitecore Connect. And then finally have a couple of recipes, and one other thing is Sitecore Connect as a product has a lot of potential. After exploring it for the past few months, I understand that it has a lot of potential. So I don't think anyone with 1 or 2 recipe can help you understand what the product is all about, because it can be extended to each individual client's requirements, their needs, and whatever the task they fulfill they want to. Sorry for that. So yeah, moving on to the next one. Okay, I know that this has been in discussions, in our Sitecore, or at least in our digital experience platform domain. I'm not sure what's happening in CRM or ERP or other domains, but for the past 1.5 years, I would say, I'm quite sure, like everyone, even if we don't know what composable is, but we would have definitely heard the word composable. Every time when we start up with this monolithic and the composable, all those stuff, every analogy starts with Lego. Of course, I do have a Lego example that's kind of like stock shot example kind of thing. But I wanted to have a different approach to this monolithic and the composable, so that everyone understands the what composability is, so that you yourself would be able to make a decision like whether it is needed. And of course, when you have this monolithic things, like we had Adobe, Sitecore, Acquia, Drupal, all those stuffs, they come up with a single product, which has a built-in CMS capabilities, which has a personalization capabilities, and marketing automation, and all those stuffs. In terms of Sitecore, we have this XP, Sitecore Experience Platform product. We still have, sorry to deviate outside that boundary now, but I would just like to clarify these things. Sitecore has confirmed that 10.4 is in cards and it will be released, and they also mentioned that in the recent DX event, that at least for the next 6 years or something, we will have Sitecore XP product. So again, the bottom line is monolithic or composable. It all depends upon your requirement, and yeah, we'll discuss about those things in the coming slides. So now coming back to the topic, we have Sitecore XP, where we had the marketing automation, where we had experience profile, where we had the built-in personalizations and all those stuff. Now, I consider this back in the 90s or in the late 80s, we had this all-in-one VCR set, a TV and a VCR set. You have a TV, you have a floppy drive in there, and you have even the video cassette in player in that. I'm not sure if the video cassette player, if today's people know that, but that's kind of way before the audio tape, and then there was this video cassette which is black and those things. So all these 3 things, right, it would be all these things would be tied to a single product. It's like an all-in-one set of things. The all-in-one TV set is good, it's nice, but until that's the thing, until say your family grows, or you have in terms of an application perspective, if your organization grows and you have wider audience, so now you have to increase the screen size, because this 20 or 25 inch of TV screen doesn't fit everyone. You have your grandma and all those stuff, where they would need a bigger screen for the eyes. In those cases, you cannot just change the display of this particular TV, change it to a 50 inch or 60 inch. I don't know what the latest thing is. So that's not possible. Again, as the generations, as per the evolutions and the recent trends in technologies, I don't think we are no more using the video cassette player. I think right now not even DVD, right? I think Blu-ray, or I don't know, maybe right now it's all OTT or those kind of stuff, over the top. Or and the same applies for the floppy disk or CD player as well. So you cannot just change only that particular part of this entire TV set. You need to replace this TV set as a whole. That's what the monolithic architecture means. You have you're locked into a particular product. You cannot expand upgrade a particular part of your entire ecosystem. So when it comes to a modern TV home theater systems, right, like we have this a separate TV, and you have your separate home theaters, and the sound bars and all those stuffs, and you might even have all those lights. As long as your TV and all your bars and all your audio video systems have an HDMI port, right, or even right now there are some wireless technologies as well. So as long as they have those things that make them understand each other, a HDMI port or those kind of stuff, you're good. Like you can replace your TV with the 40 into a 50 or 60 inch, and then like again from a particular sound bar, right? You can change it from with just a pair of mono speakers to stereo speakers and all those stuff. So that's what composable is. And yeah, I know that what you're thinking right now, like, okay, this holds good for an TV or VCR example, but we are not doing in that. We are not in that business. We are managing, we are building enterprise level application. So what is in it for an enterprise application level? I get that. So before I move on to the next one, like I would like to ask a small question. Like I know that you don't have to answer it, but you can answer it on your individual. What is the one common thing that can be used to build a car, a home, or I don't know, maybe a robot or even a tree? Uh, yeah, it's the Legos. I know that it's not the obvious answer, and it's not something the serious thing. It's just a fun way of saying it. So, but sometimes that helps us, get the right perspective. So that's what Lego bricks are. So you have this a smaller basic building block kind of thing, with which you can which you can connect them together, and then you can build a car around it, or you can build a house around it, or you can build a robot around it. So but the basic building block, right, that constitutes a particular application, it's still the same. It's the Lego thing. So some of the the pioneers, or the industry experts, they coined the composable enterprise as the as an ability, or as a design approach, where you can break the software or the hardware components into smaller composable blocks, like then a smaller building blocks, so that when a particular thing needs to be updated, you can go up straight over there. It can be modified, or it can be updated, or of course, you can always replace it with one to another. I think like there are several mailing components. Like right now there is Sitecore Send, and there is, I think, even with HubSpot, a few other Twilio for SMS and those kind of stuff, where you can just replace those particular functionality with a different vendor or with a different product, and then you can still get your entire ecosystem working efficiently. So when we do these kind of things, what that happens is it creates a that's what the final thing is about. It creates a fluid work environment that creates a champion individual component. Like it's like that's this terminology, right? Like when everyone in the team performs better, then the team performs better. That's the way that is. So when every individual, when you break all the components of your digital ecosystem to a smaller steps that can be easily managed, upgraded, or even replaced, then every individual components work at their best. And then finally, when you combine this, you have an state-of-the-art ecosystem. So now that I've established what a monolithic and composable stuff is, and when to go after, what are the advantages of composable, and I'm still not saying, and not just me, like everyone in the industry, they say that it's not like monolithic is better than composable or those stuff. I mean, it depends upon the situation. If your particular project, or if your particular application, or if your client is more than comfortable. Of course, this is a rare thing, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen, but it's a rare thing. It means then monolithic is good for you. But in most of the cases, the composable is the best thing. So now that I've established what composable is, why it is needed, and when it is needed, let's just look into Sitecore's solution to the composable stuff. So I know that they have this content cloud, and then there is this engagement cloud and commerce cloud products. With Content Cloud, it's most probably Content XM Cloud or Content Hub One, those kind of stuff, where you manage the contents and scale the contents and those kind of stuff. And then there is the Commerce Cloud, which is completely different one. Like they have this 440. Oh, sorry, we should not say that. It's a Order Cloud, and there is a Discover. So these are the steps that are mainly involved in the commerce related applications and the commerce landscape. I know that I have skipped engagement cloud. I'll talk more about it in after a couple of slides. As you know, but the engagement cloud is my personal what do you say? Is interest, because that's where all the meaningful conversions, and we talk about the customer experience and all those things, right? The products in the engagement cloud, those are the things that enable us to do that in a seamless way. As of now, you know that personalization, personalized module, customer data platform, and send are the products over there, and connect is something which is recently added there. So now this is kind of a modern architecture which we have. This is just a sample, because like once you have go after the headless and towards the what do you say, the composable architecture, like this is how we have. Of course, I have skipped the MVC part or those steps, because like I think like based on the recent polls and all those steps, I think we have around 50% or 45 to 55%, somewhere around that for applications in MVC. But so one way or the other, to leverage the benefits of the modern technologies and the modern technological advancements in digital display platform, we'd be moving from MVC to headless. So this is a sample. This is how high level headless architecture for any CMS or XM Cloud or Content Hub or Sitecore in particular would look like. So you have you have content. Of course, we are in the content management system world. So you have the content that is provided by Hexam Cloud or Content Hub One or any other headless CMS for that matter per se. Or of course, now I've seen that there are few organizations, they instead of any modern GUI to create those APIs or the GraphQLs, they straight away go after the API part, and any API or any endpoint that provides the content, we will then have our front-end framework and applications which can be built using Next, Vue, React, or Angular. I'll just make a small part, and I wanna talk to the front-end framework or the front-end groups. I wanna bash them, because like when Sitecore 9 was brought in and they have this headless, I'm sure that most of us, that's when we would have heard of these front-end terminologies, and that's when we would have actually get a first level experience on all these things. So when it was released, Angular was the big thing. So when I wanted to start, okay, they said, okay, let's get started with Angular, and then Sitecore, and then I saw like a lot of organizations and a lot of people opting to React for building Sitecore headless. I think like even now there are more React-based headless apps, because whenever I go in a discussion with Sitecore, they say, okay, you have headless, okay, what React? That's what their first answer, first question would be, and then like we have to change. That is, and then like when I started learning React, Sitecore recently came up with and said like we have Vercel, we have this static site generation, or we have this what do you say, server side rendering and all those things. So Next.js and Vercel makes the best part. So I've now stopped, parked all these aspirations. You guys first decide a framework, tell us which one is that, and then I'll pick that. That's how kind of a typical backend developer is right now. But of course, I'm just kidding, and I know that I'm just cheating myself. We have to one way or the other way pick up one particular front-end framework, and then we should get started to it. And then finally, we have this CI/CD hosting. We have this Vercel, Netlify kind of stuff. I know that like 4 or 5 years ago, like we had this content delivery networks. I mean, like way before that, at least Akamai or Azure CDN, where we would at those times we would be using the minified versions of CSS or JS, or sometimes maybe even images to have edge nodes, and whatever the nearest edge to a particular browser or the request that would serve those stuffs. That has now kind of now evolved, and with the static site generation, the static nodes and all those things are now stored in edge. Can be stored in edge, and every time when you make a request, it can even be those static sites HTML, so those can be served from the nearest edge. That would even give you a good performance thing, and of course they can also be checked with the light hosting. So, and of course, like apart from the Vercel, Netlify, or front-end hosting things, we always have our AWS and Azure where we host our things. I know that I haven't included the Dockers kind of stuffs over here, because I haven't got much chance to work on those Docker pods or the managed cloud containers, just here and there. So I was unless and until I know it at least fully, right, I didn't think that I should put it up here. And of course, now this is what we're going to talk about here, the composable stuff. So this makes the application part, but the application has the different aspects, and then we'll have the different products that provides different features to our application. So you have CDP, personalized search, send, and that is this identity management, even Auth0 or Azure B2C, because now they have also moved to an. I now see that also as a part of a composable thing, like because back in those days, like 10 or 10 to, yeah, I think 10 years ago, we had Azure AD or those kind of stuffs, and with all these users, and identity management is also something which we are managing in-house. But then Auth0 came in, and then there were like few other stuffs like even Azure AD B2C, where you have this identity management, the users and their user IDs and few other stuffs that can be stored in the cloud as a separate composable stuff, like as a separate product, and then it can be leveraged to not just one application, it can be utilized in multiple applications. So I think like the identity management was the first composable way of doing something which I've experienced in my career. So, and then there is this analytics, as always. Like I know that most of us, even we have Sitecore Analytics, like we also rely on Google Analytics. So I think that is also the identity management and analytics are something kind of like the pioneers, or like the godfathers of this composable stuff. Now we are just following that, and then we are expanding it to different other features. So, sorry to have, I know that I know you're in the right session. This session was supposed to be about Connect and those stuff, but I just wanted to set the context. That's why I took the 15 minutes, or I think 20 minutes to set the context of this in the entire Connect. We now know what monolith is, when what composable is like, and when we have a composable, what are the different products we have. So only when we are clear with that things, then I'll be able to, you'll be able to understand what Connect is and why Connect is required in this composable world. And I also mentioned that I skipped engagement cloud specifically when I talked about content cloud or the commerce cloud, because I wanted to take a separate time over here, and now it is. As I said before, engagement cloud is where according to me, yeah. Yeah. So according to me, at least that's where the actual action takes place. So when it comes to engagement cloud, right, it focuses on integrating and organizing customer data. Like content cloud, it provides content and commerce, all those things. But when these two things, right, they generate a lot of user visits, and every time when user visits, there are a lot of customer data that is getting generated. In engagement cloud, it's the place where you integrate and organize these customer data. Why simple to deliver an optimized and personalized experience, and that's it. Like that's where based on these customer data that you get, how you organize them, how you refine them, how you process them, and then you provide a personalized experience, or what do you say, a better customer experience on all different channels. So that's how we have this in the engagement cloud. So Sitecore Connect is the recent addition to engagement cloud. So moving on to next one. Okay, now we've set the context, and now here we are in the Sitecore Connect. Sitecore Connect is not a fresh product. It's not like our XM or XP that has been developed from the scratch by Sitecore. It's kind of an I won't say that it's an acquisition as well. Like where we had this 441 or Mosend or even Content Hub, and I forgot the name before that. So they were all kind of an acquisitions, but this is kind of they have kind of a different agreement with Workbench, Workto, because there is we still have Workto as a product and as a label and all those stuff. Kind of like that's why I mentioned that it's developed in partnership with Workto. So initially, Workto and these kind of things were created, were intended to connect the different Sitecore products. But later, I think like anyone would realize the potential of this, that it itself can be white labeled, and then it can be sold as a separate product. So that's why that's how Sitecore Connect comes into picture. And of course, considering all the other products or other aspects which we would have most probably worked on, right? So it has this low code or no code, most of the drag and drop kind of tool. Of course, when in demo or in the subsequent phases, you would understand what these words mean. Like, I would be able to add picture to these words. And of course, where I think like it's the CTO of Sitecore, they gave this statement. I don't know, some CXOs. The Connect was mainly intended to solve the integration tax of the composable DXP. The terminology integration tax is like, like as I said, in a composable DXP, you have all these different products. Of course, these products have, or they have their own endpoints and they can communicate with each other, but still there is an integration tax, which is what this Connect is all about. And of course, during the course of this particular session, you'll be able to understand what I'm trying to say. And finally, it provides a Sitecore Connect, right? It provides leading edge solution for platform syncing. Like with respect to CDP, you have you have bulk customer data to be ingested, or it needs to be processed, transported, or it needs to be come in from a different CRP. I think like you can use Sitecore Connect for that, and that's what the term leading edge solution for platform syncing means. So this is Workto, and let me just go to Workto itself. Just a sec. Workto account anyone can open. I think they have a free stuff. You can also try accessing it. It can be accessed from app.workato.com, and I think like anyone can open it, and then you can have your account, and then you can explain. You can explore those. Most of the learning materials, and I know that I have a separate slide for this in the last, but still, even most of the learning materials or the learning courses which Sitecore themselves intend have references to Workato articles, or even their learning portals academy, those kind of stuffs. So I think like Workato has a big community. There are like a lot of developers over there contributing to custom add-ons kind of stuffs to Workato. But generally, I would say that before getting into Sitecore Connect, I would say that you can explore Workato so that you can understand how this product is built and get some meaning out of it. So it's same. After a minute, like I'll just show how this what do you say? Just a sec. I'll show how the same thing is there for Sitecore Connect. But first, I would like to show a couple of slides or some stuffs around Workato. So as I mentioned, right, anyone can have, and then there is this dashboard which is also similar to what we have in Sitecore Connect. If I show this, then you might lose interest in Sitecore Connect. So I'll just park it up here, and then we'll discuss more on Sitecore Connect. So just wanted to see, just wanted for you to understand, right? You can create an free account in Workato. You can create all these recipes. They are the same. If you see, right, they have the same stuff, almost same to same. Same here, recipes. You have triggers, you have actions, and then like you have a particular job that tells you what needs to be done, connections and everything. Those stuff. So that's it for Workato. I know that I haven't actually touched the core. I'm just giving you some outside stuffs, and then in the demo or when it comes to Sitecore Connect, I'll connect the complete dot. So moving on to our next session. Sorry, my next slide. It's the terminologies. So as I mentioned, right, these are the terminologies that you come across when you explore Sitecore Connect. These are the recipes, actions, connections, and triggers. Rather than, I would say, these as terminologies, they are assets, or they are the components that constitute Sitecore Connect. Recipes are like pipelines. Remember, like we have the Sitecore marketing automation pipelines, right? Like where you have when a particular user visits a particular page, or a particular goal is triggered. You have some triggering options, and then it comes in check whether this particular user belongs to a particular segment or not. If he belongs to this particular segment, send him a mail, or do something to his contact, and those kind of stuff. So that is what the recipes and what do you say, the Connect is all about. The recipes is all about. They are mainly that used to create that allows a integrated complex workflow between platforms and data. That's what the actual thing is. Like where in a marketing automation pipeline or in a DevOps pipeline, everything is would be a single system or at least a part of a single system. But here it's not the case. You have different platforms, like you have CDPs, you have personalized. If we are talking about Sitecore World, of course you have Jira, Salesforce, Teams. Like I'll show you, there are a lot of options. So that's what here the platforms mean, and data is just from one platform to another platform, whatever you intend to share. And then there is this actions. Actions is where the actual what do you say, action takes place. There are several apps, like within the apps you do this, you do that. That's what action is. And I know that I've talked about the apps, actions, and those stuff. So of course, when something needs to be done, right, you need to first connect to that app, and not just connection, you need authorization as well, like those things. That's where the connection comes in. I'll whatever I show you here now or discuss right now, we'll have the demo, we'll have it in place, like this is just setting the context over that. So Sitecore provides all the different kinds of authentications. They have the basic user ID and password, OAuth 2, OAuth, or JWT and SAML2. And Sitecore officially recommends OAuth authorization so that it is secure. As long as your app that has an OAuth enabled API level, you can create your custom app in Connect, and then you can do your custom activities as well. And finally, we have this triggers. Of course, actually, this is even the first part of any recipe. Triggers are something that triggers the actions. Just a sec, I just want to see if I've not missed anything in the notes. Yeah, okay. And we have triggers. So triggers that actually triggers this entire recipe. So every recipe needs some trigger, that sets the recipe in motion. Triggers can be of different type, like they can be events, like when something is created, updated, modified, deleted, those any and events. Or they can also be something as a as a, what do you say, as a scheduled thing, like as a job, it's a scheduled thing, or as a poll, right? When we have this availability kind of stuffs in cloud solutions, right, there will always be a poll, and then it will decide which one is the next available, next resource to be the primary, those kind of stuff. There is a polling mechanism. You can use the poll things as well. And then finally, when everything happens, you dispatch this stuff, right? Like whatever it can be done in a single one, or in a bulk way, a batch upload or bulk upload kind of stuff. So it's that's the outcome of the triggers, like it's a single or a batch or bulk upload kind of thing. So yeah, need for connect. So this is where the actual discussion around the this entire session is going to be about. We have this different DXP composable products which Sitecore gives, right? Like Sitecore now provides. You have XM Cloud that is there for the presentation stuffs, and you have the Sitecore Send, which has this email, and the personalized, which is have the personalized stuff. So this particular thing right now, it will give you like what are the different what do you say, the type of data that comes in. XM Cloud also handles data. That data is called content, and Sitecore CDP also handles data. That data we'll be calling it as customer data. And then of course the same for Send and all those stuff. So these different kinds of data, how these components they can connect with each other, without any manual intervention or without anything set up, right? You can come in, you can trigger a recipe that can tell you like what needs to be done, get the data from a particular component, and then you can process it, have all logic set in, and then finally you can do something, deliver on a stone. So this is where the need for connect is. Like when you have a monolithic kind of stuff, where you have a single one, all in one, everything in a single system, I don't think it is difficult for the communication, like where to transfer data from one module to another module. I think it would be straightforward. We have the in-house APIs or DLLs, those kind of stuff. But when you have different components, right? Like say for example, for personalized, you're using Sitecore personalized, or for mailing you have the Sitecore Send. But tomorrow, if you're going to use a different stuff, right, for analytics or for Send, then the signature might change. But of course, by the end of the day, most probably they'll be expecting it to have an API endpoint, a JSON or a GraphQL kind of stuff. But still, with Connect and those kind of stuff coming into picture, you can bridge those gap. That's what the need for connecting the everything. And I in our post or in our introduction, we purposely used this particular image because this is what I see is need for Connect, because like you have different components, each has different signatures or different types. You need something that connects this together. So that's where Sitecore Connect comes into picture. And finally, before going on to demo, I would like to talk about this versionless composable world. You might see this all four products, right? They are like different products. Like, one has this which has this legless, another one has legs, and another one has wheels attached to its bottom. In one has this there's something like a spray paint, or someone has a screwdriver or spanner kind of stuff. But the thing is, all these are same products. So that's what Sitecore's versionless composable world means. You don't have any more Sitecore version 9, Sitecore version 10, or XM Cloud version 1, XM Cloud version 2, or CDP version 1, CDP 2. No, not like that. They're going to be like feature drops. Like I'm not sure, like in Pixels or in Google's, right? Google phones, right? They have the feature drops. Like, just because you bought a phone with an Android version 10 or something doesn't mean that you get stick to it. You have this automatic upgrades, and whenever there is an automatic upgrade, you have the features of this. So similar way, in the composable world, it's in a versionless composable world. That's what they mean. Like all these four, they are not different stuff. They are the same stuff, same what do you say, same application or a same product, but with different features. So depends upon, like, whatever you need and those stuff. And yeah, that's it. So let me get on without wasting any more time. I'll get started. And of course, like, most of us would know that nowadays Sitecore's, right, they are providing all their applications in their cloud portal. It's more like Azure's version of portal.azure, like where you have all these products, anyone come in, they can consume the resource and those kind of stuff. So comparatively, that's what Sitecore portal cloud is all about. You come in, like all their apps comes into pictures, and they are over here. And a couple of things that I would like to showcase here right now, because like I know that there are like few pioneers in Sitecore world or industries. They themselves are now finding it quite difficult. I'm not saying that it's impossible, but quite difficult to get hands on the latest composable products, because the way it is getting delivered, the way the particular previously we have all our like trial license or partner license or MEP license, where we can just and then there is this the new versions of Sitecore or whatever the new product we'll be able to set up and those stuff. But with this modern changes with the cloud and the composable products, it's quite difficult there. This is kind of a pain area for the people in the community. And of course, like, yeah, of course, it always pays to be, working for a partner organization rather than a client organization in this time for these things, at least for the next 1 or 2 years. That's the what do you say? That's the positive aspect of it. But to Sitecore, all those things, as a community member, everyone in this forum, I would like to request that if it is available for everyone, right, it would be easy. And of course, that would of course be a positive, that would give a positive outcome for Sitecore as well, because when the community members come in, they have their own custom components and all those stuff. They would definitely help in those things. So a couple of one other thing, like right now you have only Sitecore products in the Sitecore portal, like Sitecore Cloud portal.sitecore Cloud.io. There is also discussions, and there is also work that's going on behind the screen, where you can also have apps from a different CRM or ERP. Those things can also be integrated into the Sitecore portal cloud, so that from a Sitecore perspective and to our Sitecore cloud, Sitecore developers, right, like for our clients, Sitecore portal or those kind of stuff would be a one-stop solution. Like from there, they'll be able to handle all those things. Okay, in several organizations, they have this identity apps, right? Like even Sitecore has this Okta. When you go into Sitecore Okta, you'll have all the apps that are listed. You have this learning community, or the DX events, or those kind of stuff. So similarly, you have this apps getting placed in your portal cloud, and then from there you'll be able to come in. Oh, sorry. I can't do that. Again, I can't turn my virtual background. You guys will be scared. Anyways, now coming back to Sitecore Connect. So from the Flash, we'll be having here. They have this basic, a dashboard of whatever the tasks and activities that is used, and those stuffs. And then like when it comes to projects, right, that's where we have actual stuff. And I know that some of these screens, might be similar to what I've shown you before from Workto. That's why I've been saying that it has been developed in partnership with Workto, and even Sitecore themselves have been, in few discussions or in few videos from official Sitecore, they themselves have mentioned that it's a white label version kind of stuff. But sorry. Uh, Sorry for that. So now coming back to the Sitecore Connect. So this is where we have all these projects. So every time when we have to create a project, right, we'll be able to create a project. For each a project is kind of like an just like in example or those stuff. Like it's one common place where you can map all your resources, recipes, actions, or those kind of stuffs. And then from each project, you'll be able to have it. For example, just give me a sec. Yeah, this is a project, and then there are like these are actually recipes. These particular icons for recipes, if you see over here, and then like there is this connections, and then there is, if you have any other triggers or those things that would come in over here. So as a project, you'll have that, and then within the project, you'll have recipes, connections, and all those things that can be utilized for that particular project. Of course, the connections can be extended to other projects as well. But one, yeah, triggers and those stuff. So let me just go up with this one first. This is a Sitecore. It's a simple footbot stuff which I created. It is already in place. So let me just yeah, before going into those stuff, right? I'll give a demo of it so that we can. Then from there, I think you'll be able to. We'll reverse engineer it. Just a sec. Why? Okay, here I have now this one small thing. Get receive. This is just an example. I'll then say how it works in the later part. Still from our portfolio. For example, we have this pizza and I must submit. What that happens is it's going to give me, or it's supposed to give me an recipe on how pizza is built. I mean, how pizza is made. Come on. No. Yeah, it's there. My system's too slow. So it will give you like how to do those things. The bottom line is I was able to build this without any code, without coding for a single bit. Now let me go to that particular pipeline, and then I'll tell you what happened so that it will be easy for you to understand. This one, yeah, and this is the recipe. So every time when you have to create a new recipe, right, you'll have some triggers. So for example, in this particular stuff, I have given a command name as recipe. Of course, here the app which I'm going to interact is Teams. There are like lots of apps. I'll show you in a bit. Wait, I'll show it straight away. Wait, why should I? Just a sec. It can be there. So this is where, as I mentioned, right, the triggers that can be a starting pipeline. Now, when it is have a triggers from an app, or when you have run it from a schedule, or a trigger from a webhook. This will be my the next demo. Like we have this webhooks in Sitecore 10.3 and above, right? So I think only 10.3 is released. Yeah. So from Sitecore 10.3, we have this webhooks, right? So what we can do from there, and then like you can also have a recipe that builds another that manages other recipes, and then there is of course API endpoint and a recipe function. Right now, I'm going to give this a trigger from an app so that I can show you like what are the different apps that are available that are out of the box from here. If you see here, these are some of the apps which I have used. But when we have this, right, there are lots of apps. We have this Salesforce, CRMs, and yeah, Sitecore's built-in tools, and there are like lots of other apps for which even I also don't know their names. This is the first time I heard of them. Jira, what do you say? All those stuffs. Yeah. So these are all the already built-in apps, which is kind of like which is kind of a big trust me when I say this, like a big app list over here. And then like as I said, like Salesforce and all those stuffs, you have always the Sitecore products as well. And then for SMSs and those kind of stuffs, you have Twilio, not just SMS, even for mails and those stuffs. You have WordPress and all these things. So this is where it comes in, like the different CRMs and those kind of stuff. So these are built-in apps. And of course, like you can also, I know that you can also create some custom apps, but it's kind of you have to check with the Workto community and the library and stuff. The only thing that you need is you need an a API endpoint. So that's where it would be, like you to connect to a particular app, because all the Sitecore Connect does is it gets the data, it you can format all those things over here, and then you can pass it. So as long as you have an endpoint or an API kind of stuff, you'd be good to go. So now let me just go back to our demo one. So you would come here, and this is there, and then there is this connections, because you have this command, and then there is there. If you check over here, there is connections. This is my Workboard Teams account, and every time when you have to connect, right, you have to do that. And here I'll be having another one, which is a HTTP, because like I had to connect with this open source rapid API, the recipe list. So here you have this, you just have the URL, and then you set the authorization. It has the basic header auth kind of thing, where it has this the key and the host name, and then it will be able to make connections to these stuffs. So in recipes, if you see over here, send request to HTTP, so this is where it happens. And if you see over here, as a part of the parameters, right, the parameter, it just requires Q, and the parameter is we just gonna give the recipe name. And for this recipe name, right, this is something which we, if you check over here, right, it comes from the teams, the previous command. So whatever the endpoints or those things that comes from the previous command, right, that can be used over here. Now, for example, now let me come here. We are then here coming in here. We are just picking up the user ID. I've just given the user ID and those steps. And finally, you have this the user board. Now, if you see over here, right, this is the output of the this particular request. Wait, let me see if that is over here in the response. Yeah, HTTP readers. I think. Yeah, this is the response schema. If you see here, right, this is the schema. Like these things are these kind of stuff is really important, because even in Sitecore XM Cloud, there is this component which is also based on the same logic. Like you send an initial request, you get the you generate the response based on the sorry, you generate the schema based on the response that is given, and then from there you'll be able to use those things. For example, this is the standard those stuff. And if you see over here, I would have utilized whatever the response schema over here. Well, the block text descriptions and all those things, these are from there. And if you see just a sec. This one, yeah. If you see here, this is the name, and this is the description, and this is the country, and then finally the video thing. This is something which we get on the response schema, and that's how we use it. Just a sec. Here, if you see it, description, the preparation minutes, if it's available, the country name, and then the video URL. So this is how we that. I know that from to a developer perspective, we don't like this low code or no code, because that's kind of like losing our work, because those kind of stuff. And moreover, there is no fun in it using those things. But consider this as an opportunity to create solutions in such a way that they can support this low code or no code. Because as of now, we would have created components and all those stuffs that would that would come up as a part of an presentation logic or those kind of stuff, a component front end kind of. But nowadays, now we will be creating all those stuffs in the form of an API responses and those kind of stuffs, and then we can and then how it can be leveraged over there. So that is kind of something that I felt more interesting, like, or at least that's the only interesting aspect of it. And then finally, when everything is done, the job would be stopped. So this is the now this is what the first thing is about. And then like there is one last thing which I want to conclude. I think that I'm on time. I'll be able to close it. So this is another recipe which we have. So this is from the Sitecore item published. I know that most of us would have been working on 10.3, and we would have explored webhooks one way or the other. So this is the webhook URL. So we'll be configuring it in the Sitecore webhook items, and then like so once for an event, right? Whenever a particular event, it's a publish end or an item delete end or those kind of stuff. And nowadays, now recently we also do know how to customize those events and how to customize those payloads. That is also possible, so that like you can have this particular system that without any interaction, whenever something does, it throws it here, and then from here in the connect you can process it, and then you can you can throw it to another system, and then it takes it up from there. So that I'm not sure if I'm able to give you the picture of what I'm trying to say, but it would be really cool because like in previous ways, we have to check every individual plus, and then we have to get. Okay, let me tell you one small thing. We had I know that most of us would have worked on migrating Sitecore contents, be it from SharePoint or from any other sites. We would have created our own custom logic, right? We would have created our own C# program that picks up the the content from the source system, like in a different system, and then we would have created the items based on the Sitecore's item API, and then we'll be creating them based on the templates, and then we'll be setting up all those stuff. Those kind of work can be done with Sitecore Connect. I know that most of us in the initial phase of a project, we would spend a few months or towards the end, to take the Delta content again, those kind of stuff. You would spend some efforts over there. Products like Sitecore Connect can definitely help us reduce our efforts or the times being spent on those activities by creating recipes. So as I said, right, like in webhooks, like once that event is done and this is the payload schema, like, this is for a published event. So you have like, whatever the options that's coming in, more publish ID and those stuffs. So every time if I publish, right, let me just publish it from my other system. Yeah, of course I have to sign in again. Once that is done, we'll be able to get that notification as well. Similar stuff only. Just a sec. It should be published, and this recipe is active, and soon this successful job should go 5. Yeah, 5. Yeah. If you see over here in the other place, you have this particular items and those things published. So these are the the IDs from where we have. This is the item ID of the one that I've published, and this is by this person and this scope. And I'm not sure like if you are excited by this message, but ignore that. Just see that as a basic logic behind this, because you have some events in Sitecore, because we've established that you can customize the Sitecore the events or whatever that you do, and you can also customize the payload. So those stuff, like remember, like we had some requirements in those days, like where a particular item in our Sitecore content tree, if it gets updated, we must every time update some other things in a different system, like some configuration items for some APIs or from here or from some database will be there from Sitecore, where you make that. So those kind of steps with these kind of things, right? Like with the webhook, you can customize the event and you can customize the payload. You can get those data, and then with Connect, you can get those data and you can process it based on your logic, and then it can be passed to any app that you wish. So almost any app that you wish, because it has SQL connections and it has also API endpoint also. That's it. So that is what Connect is all about. So as I said, connections are there, and then there is this of course you have jobs. When a particular job is failed, right? For example, this is particular job that has been failed, you'll be able to see the data, but I think like it's the data has passed than the retention period. That's why you are not able to see. But these kind of steps will be helpful when you have to debug, because initially when you set up, right, there will be a lot of failures, you need to check a few things, and then you'll be able to get it. For example, this is one thing, this is a successful job, and you have all these things. And when it comes on all these things, you'll have what are the endpoints. For example, the item published in favor. This is the payload of the item published event. And then like this is again the message that is created, and the message ID. If you see here the input, you'll be able to see the message, the raw message. So this is what I mentioned. It's all a JSON kind of stuff, where you have these things, and this is what would come in over there. So I think with this, I think this is the last slide. I mean, yeah. And before I open the floor for any Q&As or any other comments, so these are some of the learning materials for the Connect and Workato. So where you can access the different, Sitecore's official learning resources and Workato's learning resources as well. I found a few of these things, not few, like almost everything helpful, because like when you Sitecore Connect is kind of a new product, you don't have much resources in the initial days. Like we have to create those resources, which is what we are doing right now. So these are the things that are really helpful. And finally, yeah, thank you. So I'm Pushpaganan. This is my mail ID, and I blog at pushpaganan.home.blog. And I think like Rohan has already introduced me to you guys. So if you have any queries related to this, not just during this discussion, even after that, you can reach out to me on my LinkedIn or via mail, or you can write me. So that's it. I'll stop the screen for now, and then we'll open the floor for any Q&A or any comments or any questions.